Hi, everybody. Well, I was late. Guess why I was late? I was enjoying the fact that the United States of America is back. America is back. I watched the inauguration, and I tell you, after Vice President Vance was sworn in and President Trump was sworn in, I cried. I cried because my country is back. I want to thank you all for joining me. This is a special show today. I had some things I wanted to discuss with you all, some very important things. And I want you to understand what is really happening. And for those of you who may be liberal, who may not understand why we are so excited, it is because we just finished going through a battle, good versus evil, right versus wrong. I cannot believe that my fellow Memphians ran to the polls to vote for someone whose major reason for being, whose major reason for voting was to murder your kids, to murder your children. I am Charlotte Bergman. I am the host for Political Talk with Charlotte. This is a special show today, but if you miss it, that's fine. This is a happy day. Oh, happy day. We have just ended the big error, ERROR, that means the wrong or big mistake that America made in 2020. And we are now coming into a new day, a great day. America is back. Please join me in honoring on this holiday and to show your respect to the sacrifices that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. made for us as we fought to enjoy the freedoms that this nation presented. And yes, there was a need for Dr. Martin Luther King during that time, but it's not so today. Today, as a result of what Dr. Martin Luther King did, universities open up, schools open up around the country. We have doctors now, we have attorneys now, we have leaders in cities who are minority, who are Black like me. So we thank him for what he did, but we can't hold on to the past. We cannot bring the past into 2025 because this is a new day and I am so excited. So please join me in honoring and showing respect to Dr. Martin Luther King. So thanks for joining Political Talk with Charlotte this week. We air our show every Thursday at noon. I hope you will invite your friends to join me today. Sit back as the show gets started. Guys, I am so full. I am so excited. I am so happy. And it's just beginning. There were a number of my friends who went to Washington, D.C., and of course, many of them were not able to partake of the events live. But I'll tell you what, I have done that myself. There is a Democrat congressman here in Memphis who refused to get tickets for Republicans who want to go and share in the celebration of Republican leadership. And a friend of mine and I flew to Washington, D.C. a few years ago, hoping to be able to get into President Trump's State of the Union address. I think it was his first State of the Union address. We weren't able to. If you want to reach out to me, send me an email. Please send the email to charlotte@charlottebergman.com. If you want to join me on Facebook, join me at Elect Bergman or my fan page at charlotte.bergman.9. That is my personal page. Bitchute, join me at Political Talk with Charlotte. On Twitter, join me at Bergman. On YouTube, join me at Bergman for Congress. And on Twit, twitch.com. Join me at Charlotte Bergman. And on Rumble, type in rumble.com and type in Charlotte Bergman. You should get many of my prior shows. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for joining me today. This is an exciting day. This is a historical day, and I wanted to be involved in the history. Oh, Bobby, good morning. Bobby, you too. I've been receiving so many text messages like that. Great day for the US of A. I'm so full. I'm so speechless, but I am so, so happy. I am so, so happy. I want to start out talking about the subject of this show today. You guys, I woke up this morning and I read where NBC News said Biden issues preempted pardons for January 6th committee and witnesses like Anthony Fauci, who was responsible for the COVID era, the COVID years of terror. Mark Milley, General Mark Milley, who was the general, he received the pardon. And the J6 committee consisted of several people. But I had got something to say about you guys about that. See, this morning, just hours remaining in office, Joe Biden issued a slew of pardons to issue preempted protection for people from President Donald J. Trump. He issued pardons for, as I said, Mark Milley, Anthony Fauci, members and staff of the committee that investigated the J6 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol and the D.C. Metropolitan Police. The panel's members included Adam Schiff. He was really nervous when he conducted an interview the other day, and trying to remember who he was talking to. I think it was Pam Bundy. He was really nervous about going to jail. Also, Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, Elaine Loria, Stephanie Murphy, Pete Aguilar, Zoe Lofton, Jamie Rasbin, and Benny Thompson. What I have to tell you guys, I'm going to start out like this. I'm going to start out with some of the things that Joe Biden has been doing. And I am not going to cover everything that Joe Biden has done, of course, but I'm going to share with you. How many of you remember? How many of you remember this? How many of you remember Joe Biden actually had a cabinet of people who probably weren't good for the United States? Do you remember these two people? Well, they were in Joe Biden's cabinet, and one of the guys actually was arrested. Now you see this woman. This woman is really a man. He's an officer in the military, and he is now being transformed into a woman. Can you all see this? I hope you can see this. This guy is a man. This is what Joe Biden has presented to us. He has presented all of those things. As a Christian, I see them as unbiblical. I see them as things God would not be pleased about. More. Remember this guy? This guy stole luggage, and he definitely was a sinful person. There's Joe Biden. Yes, he should be embarrassed. Oh my God. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. These are the types of people that Joe Biden surrounded himself with. These would not be people that would be considered good people for America. But Joe Biden felt that, and Kamala Harris felt that these were the people that represented them. But that's not all about Joe Biden. I want you all to hear what Scarborough has to say about Joe Biden. We all knew that Joe Biden was experiencing dementia. And I'm not even sure that he knew half of the things that he was doing. Okay, I want you guys to see this and listen to this.
Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden is the best Biden ever.
She knows so long as she was 9.
In fact, I think he's better than he's ever been.
President Biden has a photographic memory. His understanding and mastery of a complicated geopolitical situation, remarkable.
He is sharp, intensely probing, and detail-oriented and focused.
Jackie, are you here? Where's Jackie? I didn't think she was going to be here.
I was sitting, 2 feet from him across the table, and he was, intense.
Have trouble walking sometimes? Yeah, so did FDR. He wanted GD war.
But he's totally focused. He's very sharp.
They say he's sharp in meetings and so on.
Very lucid, very well informed. Biden is stately, and he comes with gravitas. There hasn't been, as far as I know, a single claim that Biden made a mistake.
Ageism is an issue. Americans have a rich history of holding people's physical characteristics against them. Okay, you can ask African Americans.
He's older. That doesn't mean that he is unfit, and there's a lot of ageism there.
Now, this age attack, this obsession by the right.
Joe Biden may not be able to speak for himself the way that he used to.
They want to think to take on government if we get out of line, which they're talking again about, and that's him lying around.
I think people should be speaking up for Joe Biden.
Americans and reporters in the media are just judging him by a physical appearance, and it's horribly unfair. Age is an asset.
He showed exactly how with it he is.
The flip side of this coin is that he has a tremendous amount of wisdom and experience.
Have you heard any concerns from anyone who has met with President Biden about him seeming a little slower?
No.
More wild speculation from a bunch of people who have probably never been in a room with Joe Biden and certainly don't have medical degrees that I'm aware of.
You don't get paid for performance to be president. The job is not a job of endurance. I don't see Donald Trump out bike riding like Joe Biden.
It's the Hillary's email. All they have is that he's old.
He can clear a dementia bar, and that's probably a win.
The media are not fair, and they're getting less and less fair, and things are frightening. You have Wall Street Journal running a horribly sourced piece saying that Biden is unfit.
Dubious Wall Street Journal report about the president's acuity.
Shoddy story by the Wall Street Journal questioning Biden's mental fitness.
Wall Street Journal story had a lot of flaws, as you said. But Sinclair, they didn't do any original reporting. They didn't follow up. They didn't do any work.
The hero of today is Hirsch Goldberg Poland, and it's still, he is not here with us, but he's still being held by Hamas.
But a huge part of the Mueller report talks about Russian disinformation tactics. And one of the themes this election cycle is that Joe Biden is too old to lead. And so everyone is seizing upon this. And it is a classic disinformation tactic. And I think the best thing that we can do is to prepare the.
All right, guys, you heard him lie over and over and over and over and over and over again. You heard him lie. And then there are some Democrats who are now resigned to admitting or became resigned to admitting that maybe there was a problem after the debate, which occurred, I think it was in June. Edie, thank you for joining me. It is a beautiful day in our history. It is a beautiful day. God is saying, I am pleased with you guys. I am pleased with you guys. You showed up and showed out on November the 5th. Next time there is an election, do even more. Do even more, because even though President Trump put his hand on the Bible and swore to protect this country and to give allegiance to the Constitution, the fight is just beginning. You don't think that those demons that were in there that have been responsible for impeaching him, for trying to murder him, for trying to caused him to experience poverty for trying to put him in jail. You don't think they're finished yet. If you think they're finished, no, they are not finished, because it's either his life or their life. So anyway, aside from that, I just wanted to share with you guys a little bit about Joe Biden and how they are lying. And they lied for 4 years to tell us that this man was mentally competent. And I did a number of shows showing he was not mentally competent. So anyway, think about what I said earlier about all of the people whom Joe Biden has pardoned. I want you guys to work with me, and I want you guys to understand what's about to happen. What I say tentatively, what will happen. Okay. I'm about to show you guys what Mike Johnson stated. I believe this is part of the reason why Mike Johnson was allowed to become the speaker again, because what Mike Johnson has to share, it's going to blow you away. If it won't blow you away, it certainly blew me away. Listen to what Mike Johnson has to say.
I do stand by it, and I say this without any personal animus at all. I mean, in some ways, I actually kind of feel sorry for Joe Biden. I mean, he's in the twilight years of his life. He is not, obviously, has not been in charge for some time. And I know this by personal observation, and now the whole world knows it, and it's been very...
Listen to what Mike Johnson said. Joe Biden, obviously, irrespective of all of the lies that the Democrats stated, obviously has not been in charge for a long time. Guys, there's something that's going to happen.
Very concerning to me over the last, year and a half since I've had this
position.
Can you
tell us a story when you say personal observation? What kind
well,
of thing did you see?
It's public now because the Wall Street Journal got it and put it on the front page. But January a year ago, almost exactly a year ago, I had been asked. I became speaker in October 2023. And there were all sorts of big national security concerns and everything going on. And I started requesting a meeting with the president because, I'm kind of old school. I'm a constitutional law guy. The Speaker of the House should be able to talk to the president, especially in times of great national interest and calamity. But they wouldn't let me meet with him. And his staff kept giving me excuses. This went on for like 8 or 9 weeks. I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker, he doesn't have time. What are you talking about? I'm second in line of the presidency. He has time. I need to talk to him. We had... I can't say the classified parts, but we had some big national concerns at the time that I was losing sleep over. Finally, I just went to the Hill press corps and I said, the president is not being allowed to meet with the speaker. There's a problem. So they started putting pressure on him. Long story short, they finally relented. They invited me to the White House. I show up and I realize it's actually an ambush because it's not just me and the president. It's also Kamala Harris, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem, the CIA director, everybody. And then, so I walked in the Oval and, I know what this is. They're going to hotbox the speaker on Ukraine funding. That's what it was. This is probably third week of January. We sit down, we're in the midst of it, and the whole conversation, and I'm going, we don't need to have this conversation. The president reaches over just like this. We're sitting right next to the fireplace in the Oval, and he grabs my arm and he says, the speaker and I just need a couple minutes together. Would y'all just leave us alone? And I looked up on the faces of some of the staff standing around the wall, and they're like, oh, no, he did it. So he called it. He's the commander-in-chief. So everybody leaves, and he and I are standing awkwardly in the middle of the Oval Office right over the rug by that coffee table. And I said, Mr. President, thanks for the moments. This is very important. I got some big national security things I need to talk to you about that I've heard, and I think you know, and what do we do? But first, real quickly, Mr. President, can I ask you a question? I cannot answer this from my constituents in Louisiana. Sir, why did you pause LNG exports to Europe? I don't understand, liquefied natural gas is in great demand by our allies. Why would you do that? Because you understand, we just talked about Ukraine. You understand you're fueling Vladimir Putin's war machine because they got to get their gas from him, And he looks at me stunned with this, and he said, I didn't do that. And I said, Mr. President, yes, you did. It was an executive order 3 weeks ago. And he goes, no, I didn't do that. And he's arguing with me. I said, Mr. President, respectfully, could I go out here and ask your secretary to print it out? We'll read it together. You definitely did that. And he goes, oh, you talk about natural gas. Yes, sir. He said, no, you misunderstand. He said, what I did is I signed this thing we're gonna conduct a study on the effects of LNG. I said, no, you're not, sir. You paused it. I know. I have the terminal, the export terminals in my state. I talked to those people this morning. This is doing massive damage to our economy, national security. It occurred to me, Barry, he was not lying to me. He genuinely did not know what he had signed. And I walked out of that meeting with fear and loathing because I thought, we're in serious trouble. Who is running the country? Like, I don't know.
All right, guys. Biden has not been running things. I did some research and I hope I kept it up. I looked up the 25th Amendment. Were you aware that the 25th Amendment, bear with me, let me find it. The 25th Amendment actually explains how a president, what a president should do, what should be done to a president if she becomes incapacitated. Things should have worked out that the president, Joseph Robinette Biden, should have been replaced. The National Constitution Center states presidential disability and succession. In the case of the removal of the president from office or of his death or resignation, the vice president shall become president. Whenever there is a vacancy in the office of vice president, the president shall nominate a vice president who shall take office upon confirmation by a majority vote of both houses in Congress. Whenever the president transmits to the president pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives his written declaration that he is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, and until he transmit to them a written declaration to the contrary, such powers and duties shall be discharged by the vice president as acting president. I read all of that to say to you that the Democrats have been lying to us all this time, and Joe Biden has not been running the country. And this may come as a surprise to you, all of you guys. Not. I know it's not coming as a surprise to you, but I'll tell you this. It didn't come as a surprise to President Trump. And President Trump, if you remember, he often alluded to the fact that Mike Johnson and he are working on a plan. They've got a plan that they're going to implement. Guys, I really believe that there are going to be consequences. And based upon the fact that Joe Biden was not removed, that the Democrat Party did not do the due diligence to make sure that this country was led by the right person, there will be consequences. And I guarantee you, this president is going to take care of things. Now, I want to share with you guys this. And I say all of that to say, I'm going to go out on a limb, and I can't say for a fact, but I'm going to go out on a limb that this guy was relieved just in time, and we have a way of saving our country. And I personally do not believe, this is me, personally do not believe that the things that Joe Biden did while he was in office will be allowed to stand. And I believe that those, the people who he pardoned will ultimately pay for the damage that they did to you and the people in this country. And I want to show you this before I end my show. I wanted to make it short, but I want you guys to understand where I'm coming from. This is a good one. I don't know how many of you all remember this. This came from the Sum of All Fears. Watch this. Our country is back, guys. And the enemy that you see today, soon you won't see them anymore. If they are allowed to continue, they will go after President Trump to destroy them. So I'm excited. I'm going to end this show so that I can celebrate. I did not find the video that I was looking for, but it is about a picture of President Trump in the Oval Office, and he's pushing away all of the big bills that the former Congress has passed. And I tell you what, I'm excited because during his speech today, he stated in front of Biden and Kamala Harris, paraphrase, that they screwed it up. This country is going to be great again, and we're going to come out of the demise. We're going to come out of the evil. We're going to come into a glorious being, a glorious country. So thank you for joining me. And I hope you enjoyed this little bit that I'd shown you. I'm going to rush back and continue watching the inauguration, but I'm asking that you continue to pray for our president, pray for this country, because they're just getting started. I really believe that the inauguration ceremonies were held inside because of potentially those drones and the attempt to possibly assassinate our president. They're going to try again, but God got this. God got that man because he's got us. So you guys be good. Enjoy this new America. America is back, baby.